All right. Welcome, Warriors, World Patriots, and my fellow Americans. My name is Mike. I'm the host of Liberty Warrior. Give me liberty or give me death. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes our duty, folks. Today is Friday night. It's Friday night. It's the weekend. We're ready to go. It's January the 28th, 2022. Listen, we have got a full house in the back. I have got the Affidavit Mamas. So we got Rosemary, we got Deborah, we got a couple other new guests that are going to join the Affidavits Mamas tonight. So I'm really excited about that. And then to top it all off, we even got another guest, a special guest. So we have got David, uh, who is going to join us. David Jose. I know you guys have seen him out there. He's been on YouTube. He's been all over the place trying to get the message out and fight this tyranny. He's in the trenches with the Affidavit Mama. So I'm super excited to have him on tonight. I hope he becomes a regular guest because I know you guys will all enjoy him too. So if you don't mind tonight, let's show him lots of love. Let's have some hearts in the chat for David and for the gals. It's going to be a great conversation. So updates real quick. So I don't misspeak. I want to make sure that I get my dates right. Tonight, yes, tonight is the last night for qualifications for the 10 coin giveaway. So we're giving away 10 of these babies. I know it's hard to see on screen, but they're one full silver ounce. We got 10 of them to give away January the 31st. So how you qualify is just any size of super chat donation. Anybody who's got a current membership will get a chance at one of those 10 silver coins. We also have 2 LWN coffee cups to give away as well on the 31st. And we're also going to give you your choice of one of Jeff B's dart, I don't know, dart little cases with the darts in it, if you guys like to play darts. So that's how you qualify for those giveaways. So we'll be pulling 13 names out come January the 31st. And for all of you that have already qualified, congratulations, and we look forward to drawing some names on the 31st. All right. I think that's all I'm going to do for updates for right now. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start bringing in our war party here. We got Rosemary. We got Tracy.
Hello.
We got Iva.
Hello.
And of course, Deborah. And last but not least, we got David Jose. How are y'all doing?
Great.
Fabulous.
Hey, how's it going?
It looks like Rosemary. It looks like you were able to pair on your channel. So let me put this up on screen for everybody. There we go. So now your channel and our channel can all chat back and forth, Rosemary.
Awesome.
So that's pretty cool. All right.
Mine went through too.
All right, sweet. So we got a bunch of them tied together tonight. So we're now streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch on Liberty Warrior Nation. Plus, Rosemary, what's the one that you're streaming across?
Well, it's all of our Telegram chats.
Oh, okay. And David, what are you streaming across?
YouTube.
All right, so we're streaming with David's YouTube as well. All right, awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and let ladies go first. I'm going to go to Deborah first,
All right.
and then to Rosemary, and I'll let you guys kind of kick us off on what direction we kind of want to take this thing. And don't forget about David and I.
Oh, well, we won't forget about David. David is the hub. So we've been extremely busy helping people all over the United States with notices and affidavits and having all kinds of success. Religious freedom notices, instead of asking for exemptions, we're giving them those, and they've been accepted. And so we just are excited with helping people everywhere all the time. We never seem to have any time off, but that's what we're doing right now.
Awesome. That's great. You know, I've had a couple of people reach out to me, Deborah, and they said, you know, I applied for a religious exemption. And I said, that's not what you want to do. You're asking for permission, and you need no permission. You have
Right.
a constitutional right to a religious freedom. And I said, go to libertywarriornation.com, go to the top left-hand corner and hit the action button. And we have a link right to Affidavit Mamas. It goes right to your webpage. I said, reach out to them and they can help you through any affidavit that you need help with. And they'll be glad to have Zoom calls or whatever they got to do to help you through the process. And we need to start thinking about this process and not just asking for permission. We got to let these SOBs know that we don't need your permission. We're putting you on notice.
Right. Yes, exactly.
So Rosemary, your thoughts?
Well, we've also been going after the schools again, and we've served them a lot of maladministrations, and we're going after the sheriffs as well as the government officials and the courts. So our judges are going to get notices or affidavits really soon as well. So we're extremely happy and very busy with what we're doing.
All right. Well, that sounds amazing too, because I know that we need to keep up on that. Thank you, Dave, for the super chat. Appreciate it. He says, "Hey everyone." Oh, I lost it. Let's give like crazy for a good show. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. We lost one of the mamas here.
We
Where'd she go?
did.
There she is. Her signal's coming back. There's Tracy.
Yes.
So let me jump over to David real quick, and then I'll get to you other fine ladies. So David, what is it that you would like to start off with tonight?
Well, I'll kind of follow along with you guys. I want to just, be able to be here and show anybody whatever it is that they need in order to free themselves. First of all, from the foolishness that the government is doing, but number two, the psychology that's binding us in America today. So not all of us have figured out what our role is with government. And a lot of times it leaves us chasing, looking for something to possibly throw at the wall and hope it sticks. I would just like to be a good resource to help people to understand, the different things that they're facing, how to change it and how to pursue things lawfully.
Awesome. That's what we need. We need people like all you helping educate and guide the rest of us down the right path to where we can really make a big difference in this battle that we're in. So let's go to Tracy next. Tracy, your opening thoughts.
I apologize because I missed everything.
Well, just what's on your mind for where we're starting in this this show tonight, which is we're just trying to cover current events. We're trying to cover the affidavits. We're trying to cover get to know your sheriffs and the school board meetings. There's a variety of topics, and just pick one that you want to kind of hit on at the very beginning.
So tell them what you're researching for me, Tracy.
Which one?
The 5G
School boards or the 5G?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of have been in the background and helping do a lot of the researching for the Affidavit Mama stuff. And so I've been looking into all the 5G, finding out if it's what they're doing is appropriate.
Okay.
And legitimate.
She's huge as far as research. She's like one of the best. She gets us so much information, and we couldn't do it without her.
That's awesome. Well, we'll come back to the 5G because I definitely would like to hear more about that. Let's jump up to Iva there. What's your opening thought?
My opening thoughts are that people need to get involved. If they get involved, it's going to make a change. We've seen changes, whether it be running on the school board, becoming a precinct committeeman. We have to get off our butts and we have to do something. The only way to take our country back is to get off and do it ourselves. We've been sitting idle way too long.
Amen. That is a great opening statement, to be honest with you. That's what we try to encourage people here is No matter what your physical stature is, there's always something that you can do. There's always something. Whether if you can't leave the house, then join groups like this, and we can put you on a computer and you can dig for information or help fill out affidavits or whatever. And for those of us who can physically go out, then we go out and we peacefully protest, or we hand out brochures of information to people, or whatever we can do to get involved, get to know our local sheriffs, get involved, because that's what's got us here, was not being involved and not paying attention. So we're awake, we're awake, and we're watching now. So now we need D-Dog, we need David Jose, we need the Affidavit Mamas to all encourage us, educate us, and kind of help us lay out that roadmap for us to the direction that we need to go, so that we can take this country back, because it is up to us. There is no magic button. So let's go back to Deborah, and what would you like to talk about next, Deborah?
Well, I mentioned the 5G, and that's only because in Tucson, and I'm quite sure your audience is experiencing it other places, but in Tucson, a fellow contacted me from there about the fact that they're installing these small cell towers in neighborhoods all over Tucson, close to people's houses, and the fact that they are physically dangerous to people's health, but then there's also the matter of surveillance as well. And so they have been trying to get the Tucson City Council to listen to them for 3 years, and they've done all kinds of things, not notices or affidavits. So Sunday night, I'm going to be on a Zoom with them in Tucson to see what they know and what they have already done. They've given me quite a bit to read. It's sort of mind bending. But anyway, we're going to see what we can do to help them, because we know it's not just a Tucson situation. We know it's not just even an Arizona situation, because one of the things that he gave me to read indicated that the FCC has wants 800,000 of these small cell towers across the United States in the next year or so. So anyway, that's one of the things that we're pursuing right now.
Wow, that's there's a lot of questions and concerns out there, if you ask me, about 5G, and I don't think that we fully understand the effects of that quite yet. And if we don't pay attention and we don't check it out, we can run into some big problems.
Right.
So thank you, Caroline, for the super chat. Shane Phelps, thank you for the super sticker. There's a lot of people asking about your channel, David, because they're wanting to show you some love and some donations. So if there's any way that we can put that in there, okay, Cash App. If you want to send that to me, I'll drop it in the chat for you. All right, let's go to Rosemary. Do you want to pick up with 5G? Is there something else that you want to talk about?
Well, in the schools, we have been finding out that the person in charge of the government right now is been basically offering money to our school boards and to our superintendents to keep all of our kids masked and everything else that they're doing to them. And my school district alone is getting $34 million. They need to go ahead and every 6 months give them a letter stating what they're actually doing with the children and how they're corrupting them in what they're doing. And if they do that, then they receive a big chunk of that money. So we are bringing that out to light as well as Deborah did get some information about how much money our airports are getting all over the nation, billions of dollars each to keep us masked and go through, you know, the airports and stuff like that. So we have that on our plate as well to deal with. But every time we turn around, there's always a new thing to try and tackle. One of our people in New York told me last night that they're trying to pass a bill in New York to put the people that go on vacation or don't want to go on vacation into concentration camps. And if that passes, then that will be something that would really be seriously bad for New York. So we have fighters up there. We'll give them some help and we'll get some notices and affidavits up to them because they have to have this taken care of before February 14th because their horrible
Valentine's Day.
person in charge wants to push this through because she thinks that she's got all the power when it's actually the people that have the power. And she can't do this because nobody gave her that authority. So she needs to make sure that she watches her step because we've got a big, huge group and we'll make sure we hit them hard.
Yes, we need to band together on this. We can't allow that to happen. Tracy, so back to the 5G real quick. You know, on all your research that you've been digging on this 5G, what is the thing that's most concerning to you?
I would say that the most concerning thing is the lack of amount of research that they've done to see what the effects are going to cause of the 5G, all the radiation, all that.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of the amount of research that they've done.
And so when these 5G towers hit the live switch and go live, you know, they say that there's problems with people who live under power lines. So would this be comparable to that? Some type of 5G putting out some type of radiation like the big power lines, the transmission lines that people live under, and it causes all kinds of problems. This is in that same category, maybe the same, maybe worse.
Worse, yeah.
Wow.
I would say it's worse. And the
Well,
cities,
and they have. Go ahead, Tracy.
and the cities are just kind of letting it happen.
Well, they act like they don't have any control over it. They act like their hands are tied. And so we're still researching because that simply cannot be possibly true. There's a lot of money being thrown at them, but thrown to the cities for this. And I just don't believe that their hands are tied.
Yeah, I don't, you know, I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about the 5G, but everything that I've heard so far about it is none of it's really been great. I can't think of one positive thing that I've heard about 5G coming out other than maybe it makes your phone a little faster. I think my phone's plenty fast enough. I don't need the 5G. But then you hear all of the other things that are coming out about transmission, all the different vibrations and stuff it puts out, and then you start talking about what about the stuff that they're jabbing in our bodies, and how could that possibly be affected by 5G? Now, that's where my biggest concern lies with it is, okay, if they're forcing certain mandates and people are going along to get along, they've got it done, and then they kick these 5G things on, is it possible for that to affect people in a negative way? I think anything's possible, and I think there needs to be a heck of a lot more research done to find out what could be behind it. So it's a concern of mine. Iva, your thoughts on either the 5G or like Rosemary says, the battle in New York or the school board situation. What's your thoughts on that?
The 5G, yeah, that really does scare me too, because it seems like everything that they do boils down to money and power. And with getting what effects is that going to have? I hear that that's one of the main reasons why they're trying to do it, to control people, make us inhuman. I don't know how much of it's true, but it's a scary thought.
Yeah, it's nothing that I would I guess my opinion would be I don't want to find out, right? I would just prefer not to be affected negatively by 5G. David, your thoughts on either the 5G or New York or even both?
Well, I believe that it's really all connected. I really believe that none of this stuff would happen unless there was federal programs where there were partnerships where huge amounts of money could be made. So I'll give you an example. When you look at CPS, you look at Title 42, 674 payment to states, you'll find that the guardian ad litems, the whole court, not people acting as judges, but the whole, what they call neglect and abuse court, is actually funded by the secretary in the executive branch of the federal. So the guardian ad litems, the CASA members, the judges, the attorneys on both sides are all funded. The only people not funded are the parents who are there. Now, when you look at what's happening in New York, they really wanted to push really hard mandates for passports, school mandates, right? So you're going to take away the oxygen of kids in school. Is going to help them to get sicker easier, because the more oxygen you have, the more alkalinity you have in your body, which gets rid of sickness. So if you want to get people sick, you get rid of the quality of oxygen they have. The Bible says the life of a thing, God breathed the breath of life in your nostrils. It goes through your lungs, permeates through your lungs into your blood. The Bible says the life of a thing is in its blood. So your oxygen goes to your blood. When they created this situation, that's harming people, what happens is the iron in your blood is not able to mix. It actually blocks the iron from fusing, in your blood. So iron is necessary to take oxygen to your extremities. So it's a whole bunch of bad stuff that's happening at once, but they're attacking the quality of oxygen you have. They're getting paid to force you to do things that will harm you. And then they're giving you things in your arm that they're also getting paid federal funds for the administration of those programs. Yep. So now when they force you to get these things in your arm, understand that what ends up happening is your heart is a pump. So because your heart is a pump, it's actually compressing and squeezing. And so if you watch Stu Peters' show, you can see where scientists showed that there were little pieces of metal inside of the product, I'll call it. And so when you're pumping your heart and those things go through your heart, you'll find that a lot of people have had issues with their heart valves. Mm-hmm. Now look at the athletes in America or around the world. Athletes are the most physically capable people in the entire world. Their heart is more efficient than anybody else's. So imagine the more that your heart is pumping, the more that those shards go through your heart. So you're finding athletes falling out all over the place. Now they try to mandate the athletes. They try to mandate the people in airplanes. The people in airplanes started blacking out. So you got to realize they have high amounts of pressure that'll move the blood around your body really fast. Mm-hmm. So those people who had high amounts of pressure started blacking out, getting dizzy, having chest pains, losing consciousness, all types of crazy stuff. Now, you look at OSHA. OSHA has tried to force mandates, but OSHA is also a federal program where people make money if they do what OSHA says. So what we're really seeing is a multifaceted approach of the administrative state attempting to attack from different angles so people don't realize it's all working together.
Mhm.
And so when we step in and we give notice in all these different areas, what it does is it shows a conflict of interest in every system or every agency, because there's not branches of government. The legislature has passed stuff because attorneys have told them to. And when they passed these things, they already knew ahead of time what they were going to do. You could tell by the legislation. Now, the legislature doesn't necessarily know what's going to happen, but now they're learning for the first time from the people all together that they're all working in programs that's conflict of interest. So we have an ability to beat them. If we're wise, we can see that all these things are connected and that it's an attack on America. The truckers, and I'll end with this, the trucker situation. The truckers are an attempt to get rid of our commerce. So they held microchips and product for business off of the coast. This is what you do when you're in war. You literally destroy bridges, you tear up the communications, you stop water, and you stop food. So if you look at the grocery stores, they're trying to get us used to food stopping. The problem is that government cannot affect commerce. They have the power to regulate commerce. They can't make law to affect commerce because their duty in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, the United States Constitution, was to protect our commerce, to regulate it. But what they're doing is they're allowing rules and regulations to be created that's blocking the commerce when the people are the ones who control the commerce from the beginning. So if you're trying to stop the people from having commercial goods and you're just a servant, it's a conflict of interest, and the people need to go after all these entities at once. And I'm going to say real quick, with the number of people on this video, I promise you, your audience alone can destroy all these mandates easily. You have more than enough people if the people want to come together and do notices to deal with all these issues. Because I guarantee you, the federal legislature has never seen this many people come together on so many different issues, showing them the law that they've never seen before.
Amen. Amen. Just keep going. Just keep going, David.
Preach it.
We
just
told
keep
you.
going.
Give it to him, Dave.
You know what's funny though? I'll say this. If you get a chance before we get off, I would like if you could share your screen to show your people. I mean, just ask this question to your audience. If all of you could stop all the things that are being done wrong by the Forgetful Guy administration and Koala Bear administration, would you do it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think everybody watching right now should and would answer yes. Yeah.
So what if we could see a lawful process in plain English showing you that you have the right to stop every single thing they're doing that you don't like in one place?
I'd say that's the place we need to be rushing to.
Okay,
Amen.
so it is Virginia Constitution. Now, what we have to remember is the first, if you look at Ballotpedia version, I like Ballotpedia, it's like an encyclopedia. Ballotpedia version of the Virginia Constitution, what you'll find is these are our forefathers who just got done fighting a king. They just got done divorcing a king. And then after they divorced the king, they handed him his behind, and they created a system of government that nobody else understood how to do except those from Israel who understood the scripture before the Israelites begged for a king. And when you see how they set up everything in order to protect us and to block any encroachments in our rights, you'll understand how we have the power to stop all of this stuff in the Bill of Rights of Virginia.
Yeah, you're not the first person that said that, David. D-Dog, he's come on quite a few times, and he's told us the same thing. And his big thing that he likes to preach, and I'm sure maybe you've met him, is get to know your local sheriff, because if he's a constitutional sheriff, he's the most powerful person you have in your county. that can help you through this process. The sheriff is there to protect us from the feds. Period. That's his job. So it's important to get to know him. It's important to hear what you have to say and what these beautiful ladies also have to say, so that we can educate ourselves. So thanks for sharing that with us, David. All right, who wants to go next?
Well,
Or
I
do you
was
guys
going
want to
to-
just listen to David? Because I can listen to
Yeah.
any of you. It don't matter who it is.
Well, I was just going to add one thing, and then we can listen to David again. And that the one thing that I was just shocking to me. Hold on one second. Can you tell Tina that Carissa needs her? Is that apparently when the frequency of the 5G acting with other frequencies in the area gets to around 60 gigahertz, which is not unusual apparently, it actually affects the electronic composition in the oxygen molecule it adversely, so that it will not bind with the hemoglobin in your blood the same way. So if you are around those cell towers and it's at that frequency, you're going to have more difficulty breathing, which fits in with what David was saying.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yes, it is. And there's a lot of stuff out there to back exactly what you're saying there, Deborah. You know what, folks? I think this video is so important for people to hear. Tonight is the night. If you have never hit that like button tonight, tonight's the night to smash that like button. Let's get this algorithm up. I can tell you right now, I'm gonna let these folks talk freely. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the words that they use. We just want to get the message out. So more than likely, I will take YouTube down after the show tonight. It will take me at least 12 hours to download it and push it over to Rumble, but it will always be on YouTube, on Facebook. So you can catch it. You can send people over to Facebook. It'll be there. But I want these folks to be able to just say whatever they got to say tonight, not worry about code words, and get the message out. So hit that like button. Let's get the algorithm up so we can catch as many people as we possibly can to hear this information, because I think it's critical that we know the path that we need to be on instead of paying attention to all the distractions and the rabbit holes.
So anyway, David, why don't you share some more about how the notices and affidavits work, because a lot of people don't know.
Well, I'll show you guys how it works. Mike, is it possible that we can pull up that Virginia Constitution Bill of Rights from Ballotpedia?
Yeah. Let me Google it real quick.
Yep.
What is it again, David?
It's Virginia Constitution is going to be the Ballotpedia version, very easy to read.
Oh.
And I think that your audience will be super blessed. I believe that God has prepared us all for a day such as this. I believe that people have learned to stand so much within the last 6 months. It's crazy. The affidavit mamas have taught people around the nation, and people are doing notices and affidavits and actually turning them in, and they're dropping mandates at jobs without even putting in an exemption. We had 2 success stories today. Federal agents have shown that they've been able to knock down these mandates. But if you can make it bigger, and if you go to the one that says Ballotpedia for Virginia Constitution, let me see, maybe I can make the screen bigger. Oops, I don't have a touch screen. Let's see.
Here,
There
hey
we go.
Tracy.
Yes.
Tracy, you can hear me. I'm just gonna put you in the back room for a minute, and I'll bring you back
That's
out
fine.
so I can make this a little bit bigger.
Yep.
If I could, come on. All right, I'll just pick somebody here. It's definitely stretching my bandwidth here. Come on.
Gotcha. Okay, so if you go to
It's-
the Bill of Rights, so you scroll down a little bit. Now, this is going to be deep because most people in America don't know that this is what our forefathers did with the Constitution. So when we click on the Bill of Rights, first of all, you know, government officials and attorneys and teachers have been telling us that our forefathers were, you know, wicked men who didn't believe in God. They were all, you know, part of some secret society. You know, they got all these things to say about our forefathers, and they say that this is not a Christian nation, right? But what happens is when we look at what our forefathers said, it was pretty deep. So if we look at the preamble, it says a declaration of rights. So this should catch the attention of everybody on this video, because when you go into a courtroom today, it is believed that a judge is supposed to tell you what your rights can be, or attorneys, right? But this clearly says a declaration of rights. So the people are declaring their rights, made by the good people of Virginia in the exercise of their sovereign powers. So if you say today that you have the highest authority as one of the people, the attorneys and government officials will try to make you look stupid. They'll laugh at you and they'll say you don't know what you're talking about. But right here, we can see that the government officials who swore to stand by the Constitution already agreed that the people have all political power, that the people have sovereign power over them. And it says, which rights do pertain to them and their posterity as the basis and foundation of government. So the people created the foundation of government. Right now in America, it's almost like people believe that the government is giving them their rights. And then when they see certain rights outlined in statutes, they think that that's the government telling them what their rights are. Those are what's called civil rights, that is based on your relationship to the civil family called the state. But you also have what's called inherent rights, or God-given rights, as one of the people that makes you independent of government, independent of everybody else, where nobody can affect those rights. So we can see this in section 1. It says that all men are by nature equally free and independent. So in your status as a man, you are in a different position than your status as one of the members of the state or a citizen. So if you look here, it says, and have certain inherent rights. So men have certain inherent rights. What are they? Of which when they enter into a state of society, see, when you put yourself inside of a group of people in a voluntary association like a state, what happens is you're making a compact or an agreement to deal with each other. Government officials will say, well, since you're a citizen, you're bound by, and your children are bound by what we say. But that's a lie. Watch this. It says they cannot by any compact deprive or divest their posterity, namely the enjoyment of life and liberty, with the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. Now, if I say it right now to your followers that the government is here to serve you to the point that if they make you unhappy, you can get rid of them, the whole government at will, that would sound kind of crazy. People would say, no, David, this is crazy. You cannot tell us we have that much power. You sound like one of those sovereign citizen crazy people. Well, what I'm going to tell you today is the government has been teaching you backward. I'm not going to say what rights you have. Your forefathers wrote you a love letter way back in the day, hundreds of years ago, and they're going to tell you what powers you have because you are upset right now. You are not happy. You are not safe. And the government is not acting in good administration. They are actually in bad administration. They are not following the laws. They are not following the trust indenture called the Constitution. They are doing what they want to do, hoping you don't figure out. So today, we are going to prove to you who these people are in relation to you and how you have had it mixed up. So let's go down a little bit more to section 2 so we can see it. And we're going to break down the role of government when it comes to you as one of the people. So we're going to look at section 2. I can't see the bottom because the screen is
There
up.
you
that way.
go.
Okay,
There you go.
Okay, section 2. Now, everybody got to pay close attention to this because this is going to show you how powerful you are compared to the government. Look at what it says, that all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people, that magistrates, which are the government officials, are their trustees and servants, and at all times amenable to them. So this means amenable means accountable. So the government officials are to be accountable to you at all times. They are your servants and trustees. So let me help you understand what a trustee is like. A trustee has a certain role that they have to carry out and duties inside of a trust. And they are not allowed to do anything other than what they're told they can do in the trust, and those things necessary and proper to do it. So if I had a trust and I say you can buy houses for my kids to make cash flow for them, and you go buy Lamborghinis, you have broken the law and can go to prison because you did things not in the trust. So when these people are trying to give you mandates for all these different things, if you never told them they can force you in the trust, it doesn't matter how they try to shake it, what statute they try to make, they never had granted authority and are now acting in maladministration. Now, maladministration might be a new word. Let me explain it. Maladministration, mal is like Spanish word malo, right? Malo is bad. Maladministration means bad administration. So when you have an administration come in, they are to carry out the laws impartially. So when they start trying to do things that are against the laws that the people created in the Constitution to protect themselves, they are 100% going against the law. What ends up happening is it makes you unhappy. It stresses you out. Your heart is hurt because you feel something is wrong, but they didn't teach us enough in law and in school to tell us what they were supposed to do. So we complain about it. They tell us to make a judicial complaint. They tell us to make a bar complaint. They tell us to go to some committee and complain, but they don't tell us what the law said do. So now let's go to section 3, because this is going to be a whopper. So for anybody who's sad about how they're treating you, you're worried about your kids, you're worried about your grandma, you're worried about them taking your property, passports, you're worried about them sticking stuff in your arm, putting you in dungeons and all this stuff, right? This is what you have the right to do already, and nobody told you. Watch this. Section 3, that government is or ought to be instituted for the common benefit. Now, one thing government workers will try to trick you with, they'll say, if you take a benefit from the government, we can force you to do stuff. That's not true. We paid you to benefit us. You're our servants. So if I have a indentured servant as my slave, almost paid slave, my paid slave doesn't get to tell me I can come in my house or not, or if I can go check the tools. The indentured servant is below you and in a position where they're serving you. So watch what this says. Instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of the people, nation, or community. So we got to realize this ain't just for Virginia. This is for the people, nation, or community. Of all the various modes and forms of government, that is best, which is capable of producing the greatest degree of happiness and safety. Now, who in the world is telling y'all the government is supposed to be making you happy? Even the people like BLM, who is burning stuff on fire, hate the government now because they got used and tricked like they do people of my culture every 4 years. They say, we're going to give you 40 acres and a mule and give you some free stuff. Go burn stuff. Go do this, terrorize people. And you're mad because somebody did something wrong to you in history that you can't even prove happened, but we just going to roll with it, right? So what ends up happening is we're at a point now where we realize that they're using and abusing people of all colors, right? They're equally trying to destroy everybody. So this maladministration gives us some power that a lot of people don't speak about. So let's see what it says. It says, and is most effectually secured against the danger of maladministration. See, When the government lets you see that they're about to start doing bad, that's what you call the danger of maladministration. When they're doing bad, they're already in maladministration. So right here it says, and whenever any, not just Virginia, any government shall be found inadequate or contrary to these purposes, a majority of the community hath an indubitable, which means it cannot be questioned, challenged, nothing, inalienable and indefeasible right to reform, alter, or abolish it in such manner as shall be judged most conducive to the public will. So that means if you see that the government is acting crazy, the people have a right inherently, not as citizens under the government begging, but a right as the people who have the power to alter, reform, and abolish government at will. You have an inherent right to come together, alter, reform, or abolish the whole system, part of it, however you see fit. Now, attorneys will say, show me exactly what that looks like in an instruction manual with procedures. Our forefathers were so smart, they knew that certain government entities would be created to block your justice. So the executive branch will create officers to go out and steal your stuff. The courts will partner with them, right? The legislature start writing statutes for them. They knew that. So they trusted you so much that they said, you know what? Y'all come together, however y'all see fit, fix it. That's how much power you got. Now think about this. The government officials, when they sign up to work for the people, take an oath that this is okay. Yet nobody's teaching this to us in our nation. We literally are not bound. This is how we've been freeing everybody from all the mandates. We've been opening private entities that were businesses and telling the government, kick rocks, you can't come here, then take a video, working out on video. You know, we've been able to knock down mandates. We actually put notice in the case for OSHA to the Supreme Court. We sent them notice. The case that just got, the Fed got destroyed in Texas. We had a person, one of our students taught somebody how to put an affidavit in a case. The judge referred to the affidavits and then blew the federal government's back out. They never expected us to learn this much stuff. They never expected us to learn it. So we really have the power to change all of this as regular people. And when we send these notices, excuse me, to the legislature, they start to figure out, we're getting thousands of notices from people all over the place. That really means millions of people know exactly what we're doing, and we're committing acts that can get us put in prison for life. So this is why Jim Jordan, you keep seeing him going after the FBI. We did notice to the FBI. He went after the DOJ. We did notice to the DOJ. They tried to stop the Arizona audit. We did notice to Perkins Coie and the Bar Association around the nation. We went after all of them. We will literally go after anybody who acts stupid because we have all the power for real. And so I believe we're in a time now where people of every race, every age, every color, we can come together and have a field day. We can have a party and we can just blow backs out. You can literally just say, look, I want to get the 5 Jeezy, right? I'm like, I got 5 on it. Let's get them. I got paper, right? If you want to get the people doing the mandate to stick stuff in your arm, we'll get them. If you want to get the people talking about you got to have this passport, we really will get them. Like, we're going to get them this Saturday, if the Lord wills, tomorrow. We're going to show people how to get them in a webinar, blow their back out. And so literally every time we get together and have a webinar and decide this is what we're going to do, we literally go out right away. By the next week or two, notices are already to them, and then you see it collapsing. And so my appeal to the American people is your forefathers loved the heck out of you. And if you ever have time to go to the Kentucky Constitution, you'll see where your forefathers left you a text message. And the text message they left, you know what? Do you want to look up that one, Mike? This Kentucky Constitution. We could go to Ballotpedia too. See, some of us are getting tricked, right? And I'm gonna tell y'all, I say this to everybody. People get mad at me for saying it sometime, but there is an attack on white America. There's an attack. The reason is because y'all stumped a mud hole in that guy called the king. And he had the most powerful army, and y'all just told him, look, dude, we're not rolling with you. We're separating from you. We don't respect your power, and you're done for. So it's going to be ballot penny. Yeah. So if we go to the Bill of Rights for Kentucky, we live in a republic, guys, and all of these things that we're fighting are going against your life and your liberty. Your liberty is who you want to marry, what church you want to go to, if you want to go to church in person, right? All these different things are liberty interests. How you raise your kids, if you're going to get something stuck in your arm or not. Look at what your forefathers said in the text of section 2. It says, absolute, which they think they have over you. The government going to tell you what to do. We're going to make a rule for you, right? Absolute and arbitrary power over the lives, liberty, and property of free men exists nowhere in a republic, not even in the largest majority. I don't give a dang if the whole federal Congress and every state Congress votes to take your right away and force you to get some in your arm. They can't do it. That's a liberty interest that you never gave away. In a republic is a compound word. It comes from the word res, R-E-S, which means affair, thing, or matter, and the word publica, those things which are open to the public. The only thing we gave government officials authority over are things open to the public. But if you remember in the last Constitution we just showed you, it said that you have a right to have safety, right? Security, right? To gain property, to have happiness. Well, in a republic, those are private rights that you have. Nobody gets to tell you what to do with your private health. Literally, they can't do it. And the last one, if we can look, is in Tennessee, and I'll let everybody else go. If you look in Tennessee, this is another one from your forefathers that everybody needs to see. Because what happens is these people are trying to shame you into shutting up. They don't want you to talk about your rights. They don't want you to talk about freedom. They want you to feel like if you talk about freedom, you're selfish, right? You don't care about everybody else. You want grandma to die if you talk about freedom. Well, freedom is what we have in this country, and freedom is what we're going to keep. So if we look in Tennessee and we go to their, I think they have the Bill of Rights there, might be Declaration. So we scroll down a little bit past the preamble, and we're going to look at, let's see, Declaration of Rights, Article 1. There we go. And it's going to be, let's see if it pops up. You got to click it at the top, I think, in the middle. Right there. Up one. Yep. If you click on that, is it popping? Oh, no. So go to the top of the screen to the left where it says our Declaration of Rights up there, and just go up a little bit and click on where it's blue. Now, this is going to let you guys know that you cannot allow people to tell you to shut up when you are doing what's right. So look at number 2. This is going to be super important. That government being instituted for the common benefit, the doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd, slavish, and destructive of the good and happiness of mankind. If you sit your behind down in complacency and let these people run you the freak over, you are going 180 degrees against what your forefathers said. You will not end up with goodness and happiness in the long run if you don't resist this foolishness. You have to stand up, show them the laws, and let them see that these attorneys that are working with them, telling them they can do whatever the heck they want to do, those days are over. I haven't seen anywhere in the Constitution that says the private bar association can tell the government officials what to do. We don't have a contract with those clowns. We got a contract with the legislature, the judges, right? and the executive branch. And they need to start learning to listen to us. They don't have anywhere in their contract where we gave them the authority to listen to a little private boys club, right? So this is the time for us to stand up. This is your forefathers saying, don't sit there and let them peer pressure you into shutting up. Speak up, give them notice, let them see what the law says. And if we have to reform, alter, and abolish, that's what we would do. But we are not having this crap. And with that, I yield.
I noticed that in the chat, at least one person asked if every single state had a constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is yes. And you need to read them. And here is where you go to. You go to ballotpedia.org and you can access any of the state constitutions that way. And at least read the Bill of Rights in your constitution and know your constitution, at least a minimum of that. And go to the ones around you as well, because it will give you a backbone to stand up and start standing for things that you haven't been standing for.
Well, and the other thing that people need to understand is why we can use another constitution from a different state. And that is because when the first 13 states were built, they all had their constitutions. Then the United States Constitution came out after that. But all of the other states that came west of those all took parts out of each one of those first 13 to build their own. And so that makes it available that everybody can use every state constitution. So you're not just looking at the United States Constitution as what you go by and your state one, you are looking at 51 states constitutions that you can pull from to make your point much stronger. Oh, we can't hear you, Mike.
You're muted, Mike.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Sorry. When I stretch that bandwidth, it does all kinds of fun things to me. So this is what I want to tell the audience tonight. We've been talking about a lot of this stuff for quite a few months, David and ladies, and I get a lot of questions of what can I do and how do I do it. We're laying the roadmap down for you tonight. This is what you do, and this is how you do it. The pen is mightier than the sword, and you've got to get in the game and know your sheriff and to know how to fill out affidavits, know your constitution inside and out, learn the other state's constitution, and most of all, just be persistent at this stuff, and you'll be effective.
Several people are asking about going to courts, and we do not have anything to do with courts. We do not have anything to do with attorneys at all, except to give them notices and affidavits, perhaps. But we don't have anything to do with them because most of them are corrupt. Or they're, at the very least, they're compromised, and so we don't deal with them. We use the notices and affidavits, and we go directly to the people that are affected by them, who are doing the maladministration, and that may be the entire government. In New York, next week, they will be getting notices. Every single person in the government will be getting notices about this nonsense the governor wants to do. Okay, everybody. And so that's what we do. And it's effective because people don't know. The people in the legislature, the senators and the House, they don't know the constitutions. The lawyers
No.
don't know the constitutions. Nobody knows them until you
Your
really
sheriffs,
start reading.
some of your sheriffs don't even know the
Most of them
Constitution.
don't. Most of them
Yeah.
don't know it.
Yep.
You know, you think about it like this, so this is where a lot of people have a problem because the psychology that's been given to us. So most people think that the judges make a decision on your rights. They don't. Think about this. If you have a case and you wanted to bring the case to court because a government official told you you have to do something, and you say, no, I don't. Who's making the decision not to do it? You. Now you go to court, you can have a whole case, and a judge can later on say, well, yeah, that statute is unconstitutional. The problem is, it wasn't when the silly judge said it was unconstitutional. It was unconstitutional the day they said it. So if we make the mistake of following these servants telling us what to do because we want to go along and get along, what happens is what they say never get tested. But before judges, so everybody can see this clearly, before a judge ever makes a judgment, notice this is what happens. Inside of the Constitution, you will see a frame of government like I showed you guys earlier. The frame of government tells what the servants can do. So when a judge makes a decision, he says, no, you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. Was it the judge who made the decision or the people who wrote it? The judge is just affirming or confirming that you wrote what the people said and that they have to abide by it. So the people have the power to institute government and create the law. We wrote the constitutions, not some brilliant attorney. There was no bar association member who wrote the United States Constitution. It didn't exist yet. So the people wrote the constitutions. The judges followed the constitutions. And so when you see American common law, it is just judges making decisions based on what the people wrote. Now, attorneys like to trick you. They try to say, no, common law is judge-made law. There's nowhere in any constitution in the entire country that says that a judge can make law. Only legislatures could do that. So what happens is the legislature makes administrative bylaws. They make bylaws for those who are in the government system. Now, I'll prove it. Anybody will tell you, yeah, the statutes have to be in pursuance of the Constitution, right? But they don't understand what they're really saying. The Constitution is the trust indenture that binds the government, and it tells what our rights are. We just saw that. We declare our rights and say, you can't touch these if you work with us. They say, okay, we'll take your money and we won't touch those. And then this is your duties. This is what you have to do. Nowhere in there did it say this is what the people have to do. So it doesn't bind us. So if you're making documents called statutes that are in pursuance of the Constitution, if the Constitution only granted the government authorities and told them how they have to serve us and let them write statutes to tell in detail how they're going to serve us, where the heck did they get some authority to turn it around and tell us what to do? It's not in any constitution. It's a hoax. So what happens is the attorneys got smart. Well, they got deceitful. They play their game. And what happens is they're like, look, we can only get so much money for these penal fines if we keep fining everybody in government. So what we need to do is loosely write the statute and make the people believe that we wrote it for them, when the Constitution is only a trust indenture for a political body. Now, I make political entities, right? I make private entities. So this is what you got to understand. When you create a private entity, you cannot give the entity jurisdiction over people not in the entity. So when you create a state, you can't give the state jurisdiction over the people who created the state. It's impossible. So when you write a statute, you can say the legislature has to be here so many days. They can vote and say yay or nay for certain things. If they do this, there can be recalls. You have to spell out their general duties, and the statute tells it in detail. Never in any constitution did it say you can bind the people. It says you have to protect their rights and freedom. It tells you that you have to protect their property, but never that you can bind them. So what they do is they trick you with words. So what they'll do is they'll say, okay, well, The Constitution says that we have a right to regulate commerce. So what we're going to do is make everything commerce.
Oh, there
So if you
go.
look up like CPS laws in some states, right? You'll see like here, Arizona Traffic and Criminal Law Manual, right? Then I think this is the right one. Yeah, this is the one. So the Criminal Law Manual, the later one, has stuff for CPS in there. And when you go and you look at your laws, what you're going to find is all of this stuff is going to be passed under the Commerce Clause. So the government has to write, let's see it where, here it is right here. So it's in here with children, right? And what happens is the government tries to act like you're a citizen of DC. And when you leave DC and go to other states, you become a resident of that state. And what happens is you're not one of the people of that state. So they try to put you under DC type law where they can write out your rights in all cases, right? Because when we look at Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, United States, it tells you that they have the right to deal with legislation in all cases whatsoever within 10 square miles. So what they do is they try to overextend that jurisdiction into the 50 states. This is how we got them on OSHA. We literally wrote to the judges, the judge in the Supreme Court, look, we know the difference between the people of the 50 states as Americans and those who are within that 10 square mile area. We know you can't write legislation over our rights. Then we showed page 491 of Miranda versus Arizona. It says where rights secured in the Constitution are involved, there could be no rulemaking or legislation which would abrogate them. So if I have a constitutional right in the state I'm in, saying that I get to get a jury if anybody ever wants to take anything from me, saying that I have to have a trial in a court of record, and they don't want to use a court of record, they can't take stuff. So they've tried to create statutes to try to bind persons, right? And when you just go to every state statute and you look up the word person, it's going to say individual, corporation, trust, company, this, that, and the other, right? But when it says the people in the Constitution, it says something totally different. It says we have all political power. So if we have all political power and it derives from us, and when we look at the state constitutions, it says that there's certain rights that we have that they can never trample, and they swore to it already. How are they now creating all these administrative programs that never passed? Like the whole Title 42 never passed. It's non-positive law. But we got people on the border saying, oh, we're going to bring these people over the border based on Title 42. Shut the freak up. It never passed. Why are you even talking about Title 42? Oh, we're going to take kids. Title 42. Shut the freak up. It never passed. We're going to give you a passport, public health and safety, right? Title 42 you're mentioning never passed. So they'll trick you and have you go to an administrative hearing and not tell you you're not in court. And then they'll let them take your stuff, and nobody tells you that this was a commerce entity or some entity under some title that never passed. And because you don't know what the public law said and your rights under the constitutions, you just let them get away with it. It's crazy.
Man, that is some evil, evil crap right there. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
That they're doing to us. And we got to wake up, man. We have got to get these people educated because knowledge is power. And he's spewing power this whole night, and so are the ladies, man. They're on it tonight, man. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, David and ladies. You're just blowing my mind right now, to be honest with you, David. I just keep going. You guys do whatever here. I'm just gonna sit back. I'm buckled in. I got my little tin hat on. I'm ready to go. So.
Hey, if you know what, it's so sad. If I feel bad because you don't want anybody to be hurt, and you realize that a lot of these issues that are happening, they're happening because the people don't know the difference and they don't realize that there was already laws created. Thank you, Mark. There was already laws created because presidents realized that they were running a dual system. And I don't mean it in some crazy sovereign citizen way. Everything I say, I'll prove it. So if you look at the 1946 Administrative Procedures Act, you'll see where the president at the time realized that government officials were actually taking tribunals that were created for another purpose and forcing people into them and stealing their property and their rights without telling them that they were not in a court. So they'll have somebody in a black robe, they'll act like they're in court, it'll look like it's court, but it would not be a court. It's called a legislative tribunal, right? And they don't tell you that you're not following constitutional due process, or that there's even two types. There's an administrative due process and there's a constitutional due process. Most people don't know this exists, even in the law world. Here's how it works. Under the Constitution, it says we have a right to a trial by jury. We have a right to be face-to-face with our accuser. We have a right to bring witnesses to show our side of the story, right? We have a right to not be affected in our private affairs, our homes invaded, right? We have a right not to be affected in our private matters, even if it's not at home. Now, when you understand this, right, you now have these administrative agencies that'll say, well, we don't like if you have a firearm. We don't like if you don't do this or don't do that. If you don't do this with your building, we don't like it, right? So then they start coming after you, and then you say, wait, hold on. How the heck are you coming after me? Where is the lawful authority from the legislature or from government or from the people saying that you can do this to us? Then they'll say, well, we got the power because we say so. And then you go to the legislature, say, legislature, who are these dudes? Right? And then the legislature's like, well, they're loose cannons. We can't control them. Our hands are tied. The freak you talking about? You creating entities that you can't control? You better get your dog on a leash, right? So what ends up happening is we go to entity meetings and we think we're in court. And it's funny. I like to show people in Wikipedia, right? When you look up the 1946 Administrative Procedures Act, if you go there, your audience will be so heated because for a long time, people keep saying this. They'll say, look, here's what you got to do. You have to go through and make sure you exhaust all your administrative remedies. Where in the Constitution did it say that the people had to go through administrative remedies?
Where do you want me to go with this one, David?
So go to Wikipedia and put in 1946 Administrative Procedures Act. And this one is going, when you read this, it's just going to be damning. Like, I got to shut up and let you read it because I might stop you in the process like the old school preacher. But when you literally see exactly what was said, what is said, you're going to fall out. Because most people realize when an agency comes after them, like the DEA, the FBI, which has never had a charter, they ain't even supposed to be around here doing stuff. But when you look up what these entities are doing, it is, I don't believe in terrifying because I ain't really scared of anything they do. I have fun tearing them up. But for some people, they're going to fall out their chair even if they're standing up. It's that bad.
Okay, I'm going to try to pull it up. I'm just going to pick somebody real quick and put
It's
them in
fine.
the back room.
He going to pick me and I'm going to go in the dark.
I hope I got the right one. Is this the right one?
That's it. So let's go to where it says, let's see. It's so small. Let me see if I can make it bigger.
Yeah, no, I wish I
gotta
could
do
make
that.
it bigger. Let
No,
me
I think it's
try-
me.
let-
So
try
I
this
can
one.
push something on the screen I
no,
saw
that's
earlier.
not helping.
Oh, here it is. Okay. So can you scroll? You see where it says historical breakdown? Let's go to where it says
Right here.
judicial review. Now, most people will think that when they're dealing with an agency, they're in court. So what I want you to do, if you can blow up where it says standard of judicial review, do, but if you can't, oh no, you know how you can do it? So you know at the top of your screen, how it lets you change the zoom on your, like up in the top. right hand
Now,
side.
now you're getting ready to cause a train wreck.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Now you're going
Okay.
over my pay grade here for trying to do.
Look, we'll have you read it then. Can you see it?
Okay. Yeah, it's not real great either. So let me bring it over here so I can see it. All right, I know I pulled it off the screen. So which part would you like for me to read, David? And I
Where
will be
it's-
glad to try
Where
to
it
read.
says judicial review. Now you got to think about this: is if an agency is taking you to court and you are in court, why in the world would you need a judicial review?
Okay, hold on.
It's hilarious.
Hold on. I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna bring Rosemary back in, and then I'll put this in front of me so I can read it. All right, you guys can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. The APA requires that to set aside agency actions that
Whoa,
are
whoa,
not
whoa. To set aside what actions?
agency actions.
So it didn't say court actions.
Nope, it said agency.
But a lot of people believe when an agency takes them somewhere, they're going to court. So when they do these administrative tickets and citations for COV or for mask mandate, they send you to a place that you think you're in court, but it's an administrative citation. Now, this is going to get deep because it's coming from the executive branch. Somebody called a health officer, think they got some power, right? Watch this. You're going to crack up. Keep reading.
Okay. The APA requires that to set aside agency actions that are not subject to formal trial-like procedures.
Whoa. Formal what?
Formal trial-like procedures.
What is a trial-like procedure? And who's telling the people this is trial-like and not a trial? Who's giving full disclosure here? Because I know a lot of people say, I went to court today for traffic. And the judge is acting like a prosecutor, which is against the law if you're in a trial. So you're not in a trial. And there's no jury there.
No.
What the
There's
heck
not.
is going on here? The cop took your car already on the side of the road. Where did he get authority to take your car if you're innocent until proven guilty?
Exactly.
Keep reading. It's going to get better. It's going to get beautiful.
All right. Not subject to formal trial-like procedures. The court must include that the regulation is arbitrary and
Capricious.
capricious and abuse of
Discretion, I think it says.
discretion or otherwise not in accordance with the law.
Wait. So you're letting people have cases that could potentially not be in accordance with the law, and it's not a court, it's trial-like, and you ain't telling nobody? Every judge in America ain't saying, oh, yo, it's a hoax, dude. Don't walk in here. It's a trap. Turn around. Don't come in this room, dude. You're going to be in trouble. Right? So now every attorney coming to these hearings are in something that's not a court, and they're not telling you. But it gets worse. Keep going. It's going to get worse.
Janitor out of the
However, Congress may further limit the scope of judicial review of agency actions. by
Okay, now let me say
including-
this.
All
In
right.
the organic statute that the legislature writes, everybody needs to know this. They'll tell the rules of review, and they'll also tell if it goes against the common law or your rights. So you can always go into the documents, look at the original legislation before all the stupid amendments in the public law that actually passed, not the fake one. And you'll find where they say, we are not intending for this to take away people's common law rights. We are not saying that we can force you to do anything. And then the attorneys will never show you that and run you through a case and take your stuff with a statute that never passed in something that's not a court. But keep going. It's going to get good.
Let's see. Where did I leave off here? Judicial review of agency actions by including such language in the organic statute to set aside formal rulemaking or formal
Adjudication, probably. Adjudication.
education for which prosecutors are trial-like.
Whoa.
Or
Trial
prosecute.
like.
Yeah.
Well, what
Trial-like.
is trial like?
Think.
Well, it has a little number next to it. 17. I can click on it. I can click on it, and it says, "Why are you guys laughing at me?"
Look, people message me 1,000 times a day, and they're like, "I gotta go to court tomorrow." I'm like, "What court?"
Where's
CPS.
17?
I'm like,
Oh, there it is. Okay.
traffic. DEA. I'm like, court? FISA. All right, keep going. This is going to get amazing.
All right, here we go. 17. A different standard for review allows courts to question agency actions more strongly. For such more formal actions, agency decisions must be supported by substantial evidence.
Substantive evidence showing like that somebody had to really do something wrong that went against somebody's rights or broke the law, like seriously,
or hurt
affecting
them,
somebody's
or hurt
rights
them,
really
yeah.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. After the courts reads the whole record, which can be thousands of pages long.
So the agencies have a habit of writing thousands of pages of stuff about whoever they're going after, right? And so that you got to go through the whole process of them collecting thousands of pages of information while they're being paid to write thousands of pages of information in a federal program. And you don't know that you're not in court. So they're holding your stuff while they're doing a program that makes them money and nobody's telling you. Keep going. It's going to get crazy.
Unlike arbitrary and
Capricious.
capricious review, substantial evidence review gives the courts leeway to consider whether an agency's factual and policy determinations are warranted in light
Okay.
of all the information
On the
before the
record.
agency at time of decision.
Okay, now here's the deal. So what they're doing is when you go through your appeal process and all this stuff in front of agency tribunals, all they're doing is seeing if they followed the procedure in their APA standards, not common law or constitutional protections procedures. So if you don't know that you're in the wrong place, they're not going to tell you. They'll presume and assume that you are one of the persons they need to attack. But they don't tell you have freedom to not have to go through that. So keep going. This is gonna get crazy. Like when people hear this, it's gonna be nuts.
Accordingly, arbitrary and capricious review is understood to be more I can't even pronounce the word.
Put it up. I'll do it.
I can't.
Put it up. I'll get it. Don't worry.
I don't know how. I don't know how.
It's a lot of words
I don't know
they're
how to
using
put
there.
it.
That's legal words. If you want to pull it up, I'll attack it.
I don't know.
Now, I
how to
might
pull
use
it up so you
Ebonics,
can
though.
read it.
Mike, spell it.
I might
Just-
use Ebonics, so
just spell
don't get
it,
mad
Mike.
at me.
Here, I'll put it up for him.
Okay.
I don't
let's-
know if he's going to be able to see it, but we'll try.
I'll see it. Okay, so there was a way that I can make my screen bigger. Okay, so where is it? There's something blocking the screen.
Does that help you at all?
Let me see.
I just made it larger. I don't know if that helped at all or
Can
not.
you scoot it to the middle a little bit?
Just cover us up, Mike.
Okay.
If you just
All right.
slide it to the right a little bit, I can get it. There we go. Okay. Let's see where you at. Unlike
I'm right
arbitrary and
down here.
capricious review, substantial evidence review gives the courts leeway to consider whether an agency's factual and policy determination were warranted in light of information before the agency at the time of the decision. Accordingly, arbitrary and capricious review is understood to be more differential to agencies than substantial evidence review is. Arbitrary and capricious review allows agency decisions to stand as long as the agency can have a reasonable explanation for its decision based on the information that it had at the time. So now, understanding that somebody has told them that they could take something from you that they're not allowed to. So really, that really doesn't make a lot of sense when you understand they never had authority to do it in the first place. But in contrast, now watch this. The courts tend to look much harder at decisions resulting from trial-like procedures. So you think you're in court and you're not, because they resemble actual trial court procedures. So you think you're in court, so they got to look at it more strongly because the person might believe they're really in court. But watch this. But Article 3 of the Constitution reserves the judicial powers for actual courts. So they're admitting what you're in is not really courts. And they're acting like you're in a court, taking stuff from you and have you going through hearings when you're not really where you're supposed to be. You should be in a judicial tribunal if they're trying to take life, liberty, or property from you. And you should have a jury of your peers make the decision. They're getting together with a private club of people, taking your stuff, sealing the record, hiding it, and not telling anybody what really happened. Now, watch this. Accordingly, courts, let's see, use strict, I can't see that word. They use strict, what is that? Darn it. Oh. They use strict something. Can you do what you did with the screen the last time? Because it moved me out of the way. And I was able to see better.
How's that?
Oh, okay.
Is that better?
It's good, but I can't see behind my face in the actual. Let me see. How do I get rid of this?
That better?
Not wait, it's bouncing in and out, but let's see. Strict under the substantial evidence standard when agencies act like courts, because being strict gives court.
Yeah, that didn't help. My bad. I'm trying to make it better.
Gives courts, where did it go? Oh, the final say, preventing agencies from using too much judicial power in violation of the separation of powers. So they understand, that's good. They understand that there's a separation of powers issue when you let executive branch entities take over people's matters without judicial courts. So they're saying they got these administrative hearings that look like trials, but they're not. And they're taking your stuff. So all across America right now, when they say you're going to go in front of this judge for COV, it's really an administrative hearing officer. It's a program where they're making money and they're hiring the courts to penalize people who don't understand what their rights are. So all the way across the border, the whole Title 42 has never passed, but it's their excuse for everything they do when it comes to COV. So when they put people in the hospital and put them on ventilators, they got paid like 39 grand per, in some places more.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When they gave you the first and second diagnosis, they got paid a ton of money. So it was good for the hospitals to force people in a room with other patients to say they had COV and then throw them on vents to make a ton of money. People were dying. They couldn't see their family members. They wouldn't let you talk. It was a conflict of interest. So when you look at the border, when they say, oh, well, Biden isn't taking care of his responsibilities based on Title 42 with immigration and stuff. Title 42 never passed. Why are you saying that? So what's happening is there's all these federal programs where they're making money. For instance, Kelly Townsend of Arizona, the legislative body member, she said, listen, we talked to the governor. We would be willing to get rid of this emergency if Biden will still give us our $452 million. So they have the power to get rid of the emergency for $452 million, which means it's not that much of an emergency. If you're worried about people's lives, you'll be worried about people's lives. It's not about that. They wanted the $452 million. The $452 million was based on a federal program where they're all splitting money. And Sal DeCiccio of Phoenix told that 290 something million dollars of funds, like $1 million was spent on COVID, and then the rest of it went to private trust. They were breaking that money up, stealing. And this is why they're locking your families down. This is why they're closing the grocery stores. This is why they're trying to interfere with bringing people into the country who don't need to be here without checking them. This is why the people who come across the border don't need a mask or something stuck in their arm. They need $450,000. This is why. Because every time the federal legislature gives out money, they're able to keep a portion of it, a percentage, for themselves. Child support, they give out 66% on a dollar for administrative costs and pay you back, and they keep the other percentage. So 34% of the money that is collected for the whole program, the Fed is keeping. And when people say, well, how is it that they make this much, $250,000 a year, and they become billionaires and 100 millionaires? Like, how is this possible? They must have good investments. Yeah, they're investing in your Social Security through these programs and these administrative hearings where they're taking your stuff and selling it for profit.
Damn. It's a lot of stuff. These guys are they're rotten to the core. They're rotten to the core, and we have to do our part to make change, man. We can't rely on T coming back and doing it. We can't rely on anyone else to do it but ourselves. You're not responsible for my freedom. I'm responsible for my freedom.
Absolutely.
You could kill the screen now. I just wanted everybody to see that.
All right. Let me bring in the other ladies. There we go. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is what we're talking about, Mike, when we're saying that we could write notices about every single solitary thing under the sun, but we are writing them, and they are making a difference. And people are finding out that they can stand up. We got a guy out of the hospital with a notice.
Yep.
Amen.
They were holding him hostage in the hospital. Wouldn't let him go. We wrote a notice to the CEO of the hospital. Well, lo and behold, a few hours later, they let him go.
Yeah, they are capturing people. When my mom got sick, we were afraid of the same thing. My dad, thought he was doing the right thing, taking her to the hospital. And she went, and then we were afraid that they weren't going to let us come get her because they took her away from my dad, wouldn't let my dad go in the room with her or nothing. And she wasn't all there because she was so sick, and he was there to make medical decisions for her, and they wouldn't allow it to happen. And we got her the hell out of there. I went and picked her up the next day.
Yep.
Yeah, that's happening everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
You have to.
Wow, this is just a lot of overload. David, I would love to have you and the Mamas back, obviously, again here on YouTube. I'd like to unleash you over on Podbean too, David. I have a Podbean podcast that we do for an hour. I'd love to have Denise reach out to you and get you scheduled on Podbean, man, and get D-Dog to come on with us too, because he's a constitutional guru too. If you guys are okay with taking calls, I'll ask Shane if he can hop up first real quick and ask a question to make sure that I can fit another person in here, and then I'll just take one call at a time. We'll do 1 or 2 or 3 calls, and allow somebody to come up and make a comment or ask a question. Shane, if you're listening, you got the link. Try to hop up here real quick, and I'll see what the software can handle. I like to practice on Shane because he's my partner. So if we have a train wreck, it's not a big deal with Shane. Him and I always guinea pig all the time. We're always trying new things, but man, just a lot of information that all you people put out for us, and we really do appreciate it. I know a lot of them in the chat are saying we got to get Dave back on more often. Dave and the Affidavit Mamas both know you guys are welcome anytime. Anytime you guys want to stream with us, I'll stream with you, or if you guys want to hop on and stream on your channels. This is so much information. You just can't get it all in one night.
Hey, I'm down. I'm your humble servant. And I just want to say, usually I follow where the Affidavit Mamas tell me to go. They're brilliant women. I can't do much of the stuff that I've been able to do by God without them. I let people know that, this is all part of our process. When I talk about the things that happen, I say the Josh Barnett, Affidavit Mama, and David Jose process, because literally they are touching things that many of us could never touch, and they have expanded knowledge, and they have so much skill that the world is being shaken because of them. So usually when they say, David, you better do this, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Well, Shane is in the waiting room, and he won't turn his camera on, which is probably a good thing because it'll help out with the bandwidth. But Shane has been a longtime fan of yours, David, for quite a while. He actually is the one that turned me on to it and said, man, you got to try to get David and his buddy to come on the show. And Shane's been with me since the beginning, and he's my partner. So Shane, are you there?
I am.
All right. We can hear you. 5x5. Go ahead, brother.
Well, if I had a question for Dave, it wouldn't be on what we're talking about this evening necessarily, because I've been watching all these people on the screen as long as they've been out. So it's just very, I'm trying to think of how to say it. It's been very self-learning how to listen to these people and actually do what they say. Now, granted, being illiterate like I am and a high school dropout, but I'm not without skills and means, and I'm not a ignorant man by no means. It's very informative to listen to all of this. And when I first run across Dave, he was with Josh Barnett. I first run across him when they first started. I think they had a whole 16 subscribers when I started watching them. It was huge, huge. And I watched him and I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. This guy is telling a guy that's running for a political seat what the laws are. And I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. I'm going to sit back and listen to this, because this is exactly what we have run into in society. Is anybody can run for office. And it's great. I'm glad they do. A normal person. But they need somebody that knows the Constitution, that knows how to comprehend and read it, and actually put it to words. So my question would be for Dave is, what made you do this? Because you don't even live in the same state as Josh.
Oh yeah, we
That's
do.
a great
Yeah,
question.
he does.
That's a great question.
Actually, I live in the same state as Josh. What actually got me started was I was a businessman who was teaching business around the country, doing a lot of real estate, doing a lot of things with medical commodities. And I had a Facebook following, like 5,000 people, the most you could have. And I was known by more people. And I was doing business. I would have my kids with me, doing live videos all the time, teaching them how to give God money, showing them how to make money in business and stuff like that, taking them to church. So people saw our lives. Well, I had a situation where I had a daughter through marriage who was dealing with 5 little gangster boys, and they were doing her very wrong and calling her the N word and B, and she's Caucasian. And what ended up happening is that she thought that she liked this group of boys, and she made her 4th set of claims on different people since her childhood to CPS when she didn't get her way, because I told her we were going to bring her home to homeschool. She was skipping and doing some bad stuff. So what ended up happening was CPS, the agency, decided to take my little guys. And so, I told them, I said, listen, and this is what really hit me harder than anything. I told them the very first day, I said, listen, you don't know who I am. And I'm not the type of guy who kisses people's butt ever. I said, so if you take my little guys and you know that you're breaking the law, I'm going to find out everything about your entire system, learn it from front to back, find all your hidden documents, all your paperwork that tells how you're running a scam. And I'm going to teach the whole nation what you're doing, and I'm going to destroy your whole system. Period. And the next day they said, if you talk again, we're going to they tried to put a gag order on me and said, if you tell people anything or you show anything, we're going to get you arrested, and we're going to, do this and do this to you and whatever. Right. So what ended up happening was I went to their tribunal the first day. And when I got done, I saw that the person who was supposed to be an attorney never talked to me. And the person came like 5 minutes late with in the ghetto, we call it a move something dress, a short mini skirt, like barely covering her underwear. She came in popping gum, and she's like, right. And I'm like, who's this ghetto chick? This is the attorney? I turned to the front. I was like, she's fired. Right. So to explain what happened, I walked out of the courtroom that day. Right. And there was a Hispanic woman who was really small, probably 130 pounds. I walk out, she's saying in Spanish, I can't see my baby. I can't see my baby. She's screaming and crying. My heart fell through my shoes, because I realized I'm a businessman and everybody see my kids every day. They know there's nothing wrong with my kids. But this woman, she can't protect herself and can barely speak English. So then I look and my heart is hurt. I'm like, dang it. So I felt God let me know, Dave, you remember the Bible says those who are oppressed, you stand up for them. Those who don't have a voice, you stand up for them. You speak up for the fatherless and the widows. And I'm like, uh-oh, something coming, right? So I walk a little bit further, go out the building and get to the driveway. And there was a small Caucasian lady, little bitty lady, innocent seeming lady, bawling, crying. And she's like, they took my baby. They took my babies. They won't even let me go to visits. They won't let me see my baby. My heart hit the floor again. And I'm looking like, okay, God, I see what's happening here. Something's happening wrong where they're blocking these people from seeing their babies, right? And so she was crying, right? So when my little guy, when they first threatened to take them, I had him go with my preacher at church. He was approved. They went with them while I was trying to figure out what the freak this was and what was happening, right? I had no idea about any accusations. I didn't know what was what. But my little son, baby, I call him Baby Sniffles, he was sitting on my chest and he was crying. He was like, Daddy, no, I love you so much, Daddy. I don't want to be away from you, Daddy. No, don't let him take us, right? So he's crying and I'm the dad. I'm the guy who came from Detroit, right? Who'd seen people get killed and all types of crazy stuff. And I'm the tough guy who solved problems. And my son is crying. And, I told these people, listen, if you do this, this is what I'm going to do. So I kept my promise. They said to me, listen, if you don't do what we tell you to, let me tell you this one other part. I'm sorry. I told my wife to put her hand on the lady's shoulder and hug her. And I'll tell you why. Because when I first went through the situation where I was broken and I didn't know what this system was, I knew I could beat it if I could figure it out. I just had no idea. So I was alone because there was nobody to teach me what it was. There was nobody to say, David, it was okay. And I was hoping that somebody would just touch my shoulder and say, David, it's going to be all right. And I didn't have anybody, right? So what ended up happening is they took my little guys, but in the process, I was figuring out every single thing they were doing. I was studying. So the assistant attorney general noticed, like, this dude is learning too fast. she started coming and saying, look, you know, I don't want to take this dude's rights. Like, as she came to court, well, the tribunal, she's like, my palms are sweating. She just dripping with sweat after I made a federal case, right? So she realized I was putting it together, and then she was reserved, but the other people tried to steal the kids. Long story short, they knew I was the only one standing by myself, right? So they just railroaded the case, took the kids, got recorded though, like different agents were in the courtroom, caught them lying, caught them withholding a court of record, caught them hiding evidence, everything. They didn't know there was feds in the room and newspaper people, right? So we ended up finding out everything they were doing. They took mine. A couple of weeks later, I was praying and asking God, let me know that I'm going down the right road, what I'm learning. So a woman messaged me November 11th and told me about how she got her 9 kids back after she said exactly what I taught in my videos. And that lady actually had the same judge, same attorney, same guardian ad litem. So God let me see, okay, you're going down the right road. So I got 9 kids back using my stuff in one day.
Oh, hallelujah.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
So I asked God for 1 victory. He gave me 9. So I put it out there and let people start seeing what we were doing. And then we got 4 back in like Wisconsin. Then we got a ton more back. We're at like 90 something now. So I ended up meeting Josh at a trafficking meeting where the senator, David Farnsworth, a lady named Evelyn had me meet Josh. From then on, we clicked like crazy and we started fighting against the wrongs of CPS. Josh was there over CPS. So David Farnsworth had me teach him and his counsel, and I proved to them that CPS was trafficking. So now people are like, holy crap. So then I got with another guy named David, and we started doing videos around the nation. They were getting like 50,000 views, 3 hours long. So then we ended up having floods of kids coming back. So I think I'm at 95 myself and 13 from another lady that I taught. So we're over 100 and some kids return. I'm at 95 by God. And I realized that it was my purpose to fight this fight. Now, if I would have got my kids back already, I would have never dealt with the audit situation. So being that I got with Josh, right? Josh had a private business that was what they call a private business shut down for COVID. So I'm like, Josh, I've learned the law. I can knock down them mandates and I can make you private. And we can do that. So we turned him to a private entity, right? We sent the governor notice, and then Josh was taking video, lifting weights with people in the gym with no mask on, sending it to the governor. He's running for Congress every day and daring him to come say something, right? So then Josh got smart. He's like, Dave, I just want everybody to be saved. I'm like, everybody who, Josh? He's like, I want businesses all over the country to be saved now. I'm like, well, what you thinking? He's like, well, I'm gonna start calling people I know. Dude called like 120 entities that we moved to the private and destroyed the mandates, and we saved all their businesses in all the states. So then, people were going after people for, other issues that had to do with the whole COVID thing. We opened up Mountside Fitness in Arizona. So God let me see that we had a purpose in me learning all this. Now they stole the selection. Josh is like, Dave, I need you to come downtown with me. I came. He's like, yo, some people did some stuff wrong and we think the election was stolen. How you want to do this? I'm like, okay, we could get them. I'm like, let's use maladministration. So we created affidavits of maladministration in November of 2020. We told everybody who was at the event, listen, we're going to do notices in Arizona. We're going to hold these people accountable. We're going to make them do an audit, and then the rest of the nation is going to follow. So we ended up having a situation where the whole state came together, and we actually were able to teach people in the Senate how to get an audit. So we got the only audit in America that was a forensic audit. So by me having the little guys taken, it allowed for us to save thousands of people with their businesses, millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. We were able to save children who were taken by CPS. We were able to, we actually know, a lot of people don't know this, but we gave notice to Candace Taylor to do in Georgia for all the thousands of people who did notice there and got everything sparked off. I wrote the notice for Matt DePerno, the affidavit that he used that they turned in 10,000, we did that one. And that got all of the people together to there was 5 legislatures that wanted to help to get an audit to happen. We also did it in Wisconsin through a couple of people that are part of our group, Carla and another lady. And we actually taught Rantham, who's doing the whole thing to reverse everything. If you read his documents, you'll see him talk about Josh and I, where we showed the attorneys that they didn't know the law and they have to allow him to remove unfit ballots. Like they can turn over the whole election and decertify because of it, not using the word decertify. So literally all this stuff has come together. God has done so much. And I realize now why I had to not have my little guys, because I would have been like you. I would have been going to the trout farm, making fish, barbecue fish for my little guys, because I can only fish in a trout farm where it's a million fish. I can't fish nowhere else because I suck, right? But you could give me a Barney Rubble Flintstone rod, and I could catch everything. I'd be a bad mamma jamma, right? But I realized that God tells you in the scriptures that to whom much is given, much is required. So God has given me millions of dollars in business. He's given me all types of cars and houses. He gave me kids when I never thought I would even have kids. I was bored and lonely and sad, right? And I was making money and I was enjoying life, but I didn't like the fact that I was by myself, right? So God gave me kids, and it's kind of like Abraham in the Bible, when God gave him a son and then God asked him to offer his son up as an offering to see what Abraham was going to do. So me, I understand God is the perfect God of restoration. He preserves, he builds you up. He lets people think they knock you down and he just makes you expand. So I understand that all this stuff, and I'm sorry for talking so long, but it was that deep of a story. All this stuff had to happen because the nation is more important, because he could have gave me my kids back and then everybody got forced to get injections and all of our kids died. Then what type of man am I, right? So I'm thankful to God for the things that have happened. I guarantee you guys, my little guys are going to come back, and thousands of other kids are going to come back. And all this stuff that's happening wrong is going to get shut down because God has given us the ability to slow down, study his word, and remember the way his laws were, because that's where our common law came from. And this is why there's no attorney, no judge, no government official on any day of the week that can stand up to us and have a conversation. It will not happen because we have learned God's way. So I'm thankful for the hard times, but that's how we met.
Amen. Hey, thanks for the story. I appreciate it. I'm going to bring in, I don't know if my bandwidth is going to hold this, but I want to bring in a very popular guy that we have that hops on the channel with us quite often. His name's D-Dog. I don't know if you've ever met him before or not, David, but this should be very interesting. So let's welcome D-Dog here. How's it going, D-Dog?
What up? Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Dave. How are you doing?
Doing great, sir. How are you?
Oh, sir, that was my dad's name. I'm just another brother from Detroit.
What? You're from Detroit?
I was born in Detroit. I grew up in Livonia.
What? Oh my gosh. I grew up on 7 Mile and Evergreen.
6 Mile in between Farmington and Newburgh.
What? Do you like hot rods?
No,
No.
big trucks. I'm a redneck.
Oh, okay.
Big trucks.
Okay,
Come
very
on,
close.
man.
Very
You
close.
gotta like
Big,
them all.
big turbos?
Nope. Gas.
Yeah, gas turbo. Big turbo. We gotta have big turbos on trucks. Get some Whistle and Dixie action going.
But I got a hold of your UAW notice.
Mhm.
And I rewrote a couple of things, and we're throwing it down on Myers and Walmart.
Mhm.
And they're lifting all their little bullshit rules with their all the associates.
Mhm.
Amen.
I added 16 AM jurisprudence second, number
Oh, yeah.
98, about no emergency powers.
Yep.
And I also added number 97. When interpreting the Constitution, it is always found for the citizen.
Yep. It's to be strictly scrutinized to pretty much favor the citizen, not the government. That's fire. That's super fire.
Yep.
Good for you,
And
D-Dog.
the reason that I got interested in these affidavits and notices, well, I've been fighting the government for 20 years, and I just feel good when I piss off somebody. I seen you writing a notice on CanCon show, 9 months ago, 10 months ago, and I'm watching it, and it's like, man, this stuff's written that a sixth grader can understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of all the stuff we were doing was legal. So now all that legal garbage, we've thrown all that crap away, and all we do is lawful work now.
Amen. That's big fire.
I'm in a group of 60 of us, and we're going after like the Johnson Act to free up churches so they don't have to do that the bullshit paperwork for IRS. And we're trying to get a remonstrance dealing with the vehicle classifications and redefining a motor vehicle so they don't have to write the whole driving act.
Well, if you use so this is a simple one you can get them on the drive with. So go to the legislature and say, hey, legislature, in your acts, when you give the state or the county the ability to have their vehicles as not taxable, when you're handling the people's business, how did you guys do that? And they're going to say, well, we just wrote the statute because when you are handling the people's business, you're exempt from taxation. So then you're going to say, okay, so you granted the agency the power to not have to pay taxes when they're handling the people's business. Okay. So what happens when the people are handling the people's business?
Boom.
So you're going to ask them that, and you're going to use the Constitution, and you're going to say this. If you granted them power to do something, that power had to come from somebody. And they're going to say it came from the Constitution. They're not going to want to say the people at first. Okay, and where did the Constitution get its power from? They're going to say the people. Say, okay, so did the people grant you authority that they don't have? And then they're going to have to think. And then you're going to say, if they granted authority that they don't have, that means that you granted authority that you never got from us because we never had it. You can't grant what you don't have. Therefore, you're breaking the law by letting the police, the sheriffs, and others go around with G plates without paying tax. So then if that's the case, the private property of the people, when it comes to your travels for non-commercial things, are to not be taxed. And it'll blow their back out.
Yeah, and a lot of research I've done on the remonstrance that I can single out somebody and dismiss them, so I don't even have to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I'm going to do is whoever's a bar associate attorney is free to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the criminals, then all I have is people to talk to.
Yeah, well, you can see,
Wow.
so you should see.
This is fire tonight. This is fire.
See the legislature. This is what we did recently. So the attorneys in Rantham's case wanted to say that you can't decertify and you can't do this. It's unlawful because it's not in the Constitution, right? So me and Josh got together and wrote up documents for Rantham, right? And we're like, cool. We agree. If it's not in the Constitution, you can't do it. Okay. All right. So these bar association members that's in the house with you, in the offices with you, yeah, nowhere in the Constitution did it say a private entity called the bar could tell, as officers of the court, can tell our government officials what to do and interfere with our contract between them. So get the freak out the way. And if you can't show that you got the power to be in the midst of the legislature in the Constitution, you agree not to be here. Then I showed how the Bar Association got together with a conflict of interest and said that they didn't want to let people do audits, and if any attorney helped them, that they would take their license, and then they kept their promise. So we put that inside of the document, and then we showed how anything that results from crime by the maxims of law, universally accepted, automatically everything that springs forth is null and void, right? Is vitiated. So what happened was he turned that into the attorneys. The attorneys came back and said, we can decertify and get rid of all the electors if we wanted to. But the federal legislature may not like it, right? So at first they were saying, no, you can't do this. It's unlawful. It's illegal. It's whatever, right? So when you call into question what it is that they're doing, they're going to have to flip the script. Now, I think it might be Black's Law 2, maybe 4. You go in there and you look up the word lawyer. And they used to have like a footnote that said the date, trying to infer that Congress told lawyers that they can act and function in America. And that's not what it was. When you go back and you look at the law, it was just the legislature made like a $10 tax for all these different professions. And one of them was being a lawyer in commerce. So that's what the Bar Association used to try to use as their authority to actually function. But there's nothing in any law anywhere that says the bar can function. Now, this is what you can use. There was a legislative body member. We did a notice to the bar, and like thousands of us went in on them at the same time. So we went after the Bar Association heads in every state. We went after the legislature, and we ordered them, tell us where we told you could get a private association to interfere with the people's business. Where did we give you the authority to listen to them in place of us? So there was one government official, I can't remember what his name is, but he came out and said, why do we have to listen to this body called the Bar Association? What authority do they have? I almost died, right? So they know they're ripe for the taking right now. So what you're doing is going to work and is going to be great. And then all the people you have that are doing the things for the stores, you can use them to do everything else. So the government has never seen 5 people make these arguments with simplicity ever. So when you got 60 people, that's scary, right? Because that means the nation really knows what you're doing, and you could be going to prison for life. So if you hit them right now, like we're going to do some more lawyer stuff, like we got thousands of people, tens of thousands. We're going to go after them with the lawyer stuff. We're going to make them not decertify. We're going to make them abolish the results of the elections because they were all done without right, because they changed the laws and they took money from Facebook. So we haven't noticed for that coming out, but we'll help you on what you got going on. You help us on what we got going on, and let's get these clowns. This is too much fun right now. This is a great time to be alive.
Yes.
And you from Detroit, so I know you got some swag, and they even call you D-Dog. I know you bring us. When they said D-Dog, I was thinking of a chocolate brother. I was thinking of a chocolate brother with his hat turned sideways. But you got that swag in your beard, though. Y'all see that beard? That beard is swag. You see that? That's grown man stuff right there.
Well, I'd love to get you and D-Dog on Podbean together and do a panel with me on Podbean so we talk free and not have to worry about getting kicked off. And I'd really like to hit this whole Arizona, Maricopa County, and the audits and all that stuff and talk about it, because I think between the two of you guys, we could light Podbean up and drop so much information. It'd be mind blowing to people. And then Podbean is super easy to share out. People can get that stuff out there, and we can really get the message out on Podbean. We're one of the fastest growing podcasts on Podbean. We're well over 8,000 subscribers now. We're over 60,000 downloads. So if we can get you and D-Dog on there at the same time, I know D-Dog is a very busy guy. It's hard to nail him down to commit to a schedule because he's so involved with what he's doing right now, but he might make some time for David Jose.
Yeah, I'm not that important. Tell him the affidavit mama's coming, and then I'll just show up.
I don't know, Dave, did you get a fresh haircut?
I got these new clippers on Facebook.
Looking good, buddy.
Well, see, I got a little stubble growing back. I did my beard though. See, now these little gold clippers are gangsta, man. These little things cut so well. I'm like, the shave was so close. The only thing is it's wider, but when you're doing the top of your head, it can cut really fast. But I enjoy these little clippers. I'm like, I look forward to. Let me see if I got it. I'm not trying to throw this out there for everybody, but Oh, I put it up. I put it in the bathroom. But man, I was shaving with these things and like it lines perfectly, you know. And this is me, like with my old doctor hands. Like I can't even write well, but it did a pretty good job.
That the
I love it.
Manscaped.
Dropping
ahead,
that
Nate.
fire.
And Dave, in a
Yes,
private
sir.
chat, I put all my contact information if you ever want to get a hold of me, buddy.
Get Telegram if you can.
No, I ain't getting any more crap.
You gotta
just
get
come
Telegram.
here, and that's about it.
Let me tell you why. I got a lot of people who want to kill me over this exposing government tyranny. Because
I got a few of them too.
yeah, so what happens is because I'm stopping CPS, the gangsters who get the kids through trafficking, I actually taught a guy who used to be a hitman. And what happened was I taught him, he got baptized, he learned about the Lord, right? And he started going to church with me for a little bit. And he even, well, when the gangsters came into Arizona because I was stopping state money, the gangster who were the hitman came in, they called him and he called me and told me, he's like, Dave, the guys are here right now to kill you in Arizona, so be very careful. Make sure you got some heat or whatever. I don't know nothing about heat. I don't know what heat is, but you know, he said, he said, look, they want to get you or whatever. So I'm like, well, he's like, Dave, please stop. I'm like, nope, I'd rather die. You know, if I die, I die. Right. So he ended up letting me know what was up though. And so there was an attempt after I blasted them at a Cindy McCain meeting. A dude literally tried to jump in the van, big black dude, right where I was sitting when they saw me leave off to go eat. We came back. I was already out of the car. This dude jumps in the car. The ladies turn a flashlight on him and like the driver's like, what the bleep are you doing in my car? And he literally said, somebody told me to open this door. Right. But I was already gone. So I know what it is. But the thing is, God is good. I've been very well protected. And but I only talk on Telegram and stuff like that because the regular phone is a way to get me killed and get people connected to me killed. So I'm a little careful. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and whenever people ask me about how much authority and power do the people actually have, I say, let's make it real simple. Let's just go to New Hampshire's Constitution, Part 1, Article 10.
Oh, yeah. Article 8 and 10. 10 is that fire, the right of revolution.
Yeah. I love that
Right.
one.
Oh, and number 8, though, when it talks about like a right to orderly and responsive government, when it says that if you talk to them, they need to respond promptly. They're always amenable to you. When the government thinks, oh, I don't have to write you back, I'm like, really? Okay, just wait.
Yeah,
Well, folks,
we'll start
it's-
off with 8, and then we'll kick them with 10, and it'll teach them something. One more thing, and then I'm going to leave real quick.
go ahead, D-Don.
Like what Canada's doing, going to their capital and stuff. A lot of truckers that I know want to go to DC. I say, why are you going to go there? DC is irrelevant to you in your life.
It's
Why
a
don't
foreign
you
nation.
do something to
You'll need that.
state and make it so the state has to reconnect with their sovereignty from the federal government.
Amen.
Yep. It's much better to do
Amen.
it that way. I don't waste a lot of time with DC garbage. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
send them some notices. Here's the thing. People should realize when Trump was the president and he couldn't invite people to his house, you should, when they say we're gonna lock up the hotels and leave you in the street and then something gonna happen to you. I'm like, Trump he's not running this house, right? These people are telling you when you're going to see Trump, you ain't welcome here. Now, if that's how y'all want to be, go ahead and hang out on that little 10 square mile island off the edge of the United States of America and go hang out in your little foreign country. I don't give a darn. You can stay over there. But I'll teach the people over here not to be bothered with your junk, and we'll just disassociate. And you could go play in your circle with no money and see how you like it. When we don't give you any
Amen.
Social Security money, right now, America needs to come together. We need people to learn how to forge metal again, right? We need people to learn how to take old scrap metal, put it in the forge, get some pure metal out, make better metal products, better cams and cranks for cars, learn how to make computer chips right now, negotiate with farmers, learn how to open up private associations, negotiate with the farmers, people who make clothes, people who grow vegetation. And let's start associating with each other and tell those people who work for us, yeah, we tried to give you power over commerce, but you were too stupid. You wanted to block our access to stuff. So now we're going to just excuse you from our business, and you could just go play over there and spend money that you ain't getting from us no more. Go ahead,
Thank you.
right? That's what we got to do because we have all the power. And then we'll just rewrite the constitutions and let them know, look, we're not going to play this game. And we'll even write it up so that if they interfere with us, it's already an insurrection against the people. But we'll write it up better so if they interfere with us, that, you know, they'll have to deal with whatever happens, you know. And when the people start learning the law and they understand what's what, the dynamic changes really fast. So when you look at what's happening with government now, everybody's nice and we're just writing nice notices. But when they read those notices, they read Article 2, Section 8 of the Constitution, life in prison, life in prison, life in prison. That's what they're really seeing. They're seeing their lives flash before their eyes because they are breaking the law and nobody told them. So understand, and I'm going to say this, people might get mad, but I'm going to say it because it's the truth. When you got a whole bunch of white men yelling, you ain't got to worry. When the white men start gaining knowledge and get quiet, you better worry. You better get concerned, right? So right now, people of all races are getting educated together, and we realize they're breaking the law, and we're not complaining no more. We're taking action and sending notices and letting them know we know what you're doing. We're demanding the grand juries back. Why would we want the grand juries? Because they're going to get prosecuted for what they're doing wrong. We're giving them a chance nicely in the love of Jesus to repent and do right, and we'll forgive you. But if you bad, be bad. Because God will show you, just like Psalm chapter 9, he will show the men of the nations that they are but men. Keep thinking you stronger than everybody in the world as a political leader or a political official, and then you're going to find out you're a servant and that your life ain't as important as you thought it was when it comes to people prosecuting you. The time is coming. So start doing right, repent so we can all be good. We ain't got to keep going down this stupid road. But understand, when the people know the law of America, they've never allowed this foolishness. And the only reason conservatives are not dealing with things right now the way that they could is because they didn't know that the law was being broken and they couldn't point to it. Because conservatives are by nature lawful people. So you teach them the law and they will self-correct.
Amen. Amen. It's getting
Well,
to
thanks
that.
for having me on. I'm going to take off. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, ladies.
Yep.
Thanks, Dave.
Peace.
Pleasure
Nice
meeting you,
sir.
buddy.
You too.
See you, D-Dog.
Sir, that's my dad's name.
Where did Mike go?
Party over here.
Yeah. Just
There he is.
It's over now. Oh crap! he's fine.
I had to reboot.
It's okay.
I lost everything. So it's getting to that time of night where I need to wind this down, and I like to go around the table and give everybody a chance for a final thought. Shane, are you still in here? There he is. Okay, he's still in here. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Shane first, and then Stacy, and then Iva. So if you guys want to go ahead, just give us your final thoughts of the show tonight. It is such an amazing show, and thank you so much for joining us, Shane. If you want to go ahead and go first.
All the thing I'm going to say, you know, I'm so sweet all the time. But anyway, all I'm going to say is I always have a great time when the mamas show up. I sure like them mamas. They're sure a lot better looking than you are most times. So I mean, I appreciate that so much. I even appreciated Dave. You know, he's inspiration. So anyway, got to give Mike a little help. He appreciates it.
Yeah, Shane and I always poke at each other. It's all good, man. But thanks for jumping up here with us, Shane. Appreciate it.
Not a problem, man.
All right. Tracy, you're next.
I wanted to say thank you, Mike, for having us on. It's been
Absolutely.
great. And I'll kind of refer back to what Iva said at the beginning, is that we all just need to participate, get involved. That's like the biggest thing. Get away from the TV, stop watching sports. Just get involved. And the parents, people need to wake up, and we need the numbers
Oh, for
in order
heaven's
to
sake.
get things done.
Amen. All right. Well, thanks for the final thought, Tracy. Iva, your final thought, and then I'll go to Rosemary.
Everybody needs to look at their constitution. You need to know your constitution. You need to know your rights. And then we need to start putting that into action with letting our legislative know, let our governors know by giving them a notice and letting them know politely. And then if they do not make changes, we send them an affidavit. And it's not a one and done thing. We have to do it and do it and do it until they decide to make the change, or we get the grand jury and we take them to the grand jury. Also, with election year coming up, we need to vet our candidates. We need to make sure that we're putting people in office that know the Constitution and are there as servants like they're supposed to be and
Amen.
serving us.
Thank you. Iva. Appreciate it. Rosemary, your final thought.
We'd like to ask anybody that really wants to be a part of this and jump on board that we are here to help you, educate you, do whatever it takes to get you involved, because it's about the numbers. And the more of us that do it, the better results we're going to have, the faster it's going to happen. We need everybody to just do one part, and whatever part that is, we don't really care. Just be involved. Make sure that you're, like Iva said and Tracy said, learn your Constitution, know what your rights are, because once you do that, the power that you get from that is unbelievable, because then you understand how much of that power you have, and that they answer to you. You do not answer to them. And this is the only way that we're going to get control back into the hands of the people.
Amen. Thanks for that, Rosemary. People are asking for David's Telegram. I don't know if he wants to give that out or not. If you do, David, you put it in the private chat, and then I can copy it and throw it in the big chat. If you choose to do that, let's go to Deborah for final thought, and then over to David.
Okay. I've been reading the chat notes as they come along. And one of the things that I just want to encourage everyone is to stop being afraid. It's debilitating. Stop being afraid and stand up and do something. Be involved at your local level. Know what your city council is doing. Know what the schools are doing. Know what your legislators are doing. Read your Constitution and quit being afraid, because that is not godly. That is of Satan, and we don't serve him. We serve God.
Amen. Thank you, Deborah. David, your final thought for tonight?
I just wanted to say thank you guys for allowing me to be able to come on and spend some time with you guys. I definitely know that I am a nothing and a small fry, but by God, we are able to do a lot of good things. And so I want to just thank you guys for allowing me to be around greatness tonight and have such a good time with you guys, because it's fire and I love it. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. This is going to be my final thought. One, I already welcomed the Affidavit Mamas into the LWN family, and so Iva and Tracy, welcome. David, welcome to LWN. We
you so
are
much. Thank you for
proud
having
to
me.
have you part of this and to be in this fight together with you. it's just it's an honor. It's a pleasure. And I know that you've got security issues that you deal with, but I'd really love to send you one of our shirts. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if there's a way that you can get the mailing address.
Rosemary can get you a location. That's super cool.
I'd love to send you a T-shirt. Love to send you a T-shirt.
Why are you wearing that same shirt every day?
And for those of you who can't find us on Podbean, we're on Amazon Music and we're on Spotify as well at LWN Podcast. So if you guys can't find us on Podbean, we're also on Spotify and Amazon Music too, so you can find us there. That's pretty much my final thought for tonight. Is just thank you so much for joining us. It was an awesome panel. It was great that D-Dog was around to hop up and say hello to you, David. He's been wanting to say hello to you for quite a while. I know Shane has too, and myself included. I caught you when you guys started fighting the nonsense from November. That's when I found you guys on YouTube. I found you guys on YouTube. I'm like, man, Shane actually said, hey, you got to check these two guys out. And I started watching them and I was like, holy cow, that's pretty amazing. So thank you for joining us. Love to have you back anytime. Love to have you on Podbean. I'll have Denise reach out to you and maybe we can put that together. But I'm going to go ahead and pray us out if you guys are ready. And then I play an ending video and you guys can all get on to your Friday evening. So, dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for these great warriors, these great patriots that have joined us here at LWN this evening, Lord. I just ask of a hedge of protection to be placed around each and every one of these patriots, including D-Dog, including Shane tonight, Lord. Just protect them, keep them safe from all the evil things that are out there. Lord, I pray a hedge of protection around each and every person listening to the sound of our voices and watching tonight and in the coming hours, Lord. And thank you for all your many blessings, Lord. Just please give us the wisdom and guide us and lay the roadmap out for us so that we can all unite together as one people under God and to just really work together to get our country back, Lord, that we so desperately deserve. And I just thank you for that. In your son's precious name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Love it, guys. Love it, love it, love it. We'll be back on tomorrow. Well, yep, tomorrow evening, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain Time right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Love to see you guys there. We'll catch you on the next one. God bless.
God bless you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hoping for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment, to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. Can you tell me the secret of how you can take it or leave it? How you can blend in with the crowd? I'm so scared, so damn afraid to look. is out to get me. I see the river on the back